Do you know why most people never reach their goals? It's not because they don't work hard enough or don't want it badly enough. It's because they're not clear on what they really want. They don't have a plan, and they sure as hell don't have a strategy. The truth is, most people spend their time working without direction, chasing after vague ideas of success without a map to show them how to get there. And that's why they end up stuck, working hard but not seeing the results they expect. Now let me ask you this. What if the only thing standing between you and the life you dream of is the way you set your goals? What if I told you that by the end of this, you'd walk away with a blueprint to achieve anything you want? Pause. You see, the problem isn't the amount of effort you put in. It's not the hours you're working or the sweat you're shedding. The problem is the lack of clarity. Without clear goals, your energy is scattered. Without a strategy, you're just spinning your wheels. And that's where most people get lost. They work hard, but they're not intentional. They hope for success, but they never define exactly what it looks like. Let me make this crystal clear. Goal setting is a science, not just a wish. And when you treat it as such, you unlock the potential to achieve anything you desire. Think about someone like Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian in history. He didn't win 23 gold medals by simply showing up and hoping for the best. Every gold medal Phelps earned was the result of clear, defined goals and an unwavering commitment to the process. He didn't just want to be the best swimmer. He set specific, measurable goals for every race, every stroke, every turn. He didn't leave anything to chance. And when things got tough, when his body was exhausted and his competitors were pushing hard, Phelps could rely on the clarity of his goals to drive him forward. He knew exactly what he was working for, and that kept him focused on his mission. Now let's bring it closer to you. How often do you find yourself working hard towards something, but without a real plan? You want success, but do you have a clear definition of what success means for you? Do you know what you need to do today to get closer to that goal? Or are you just working in the dark, hoping you'll stumble upon it? If you're not clear on what you want, it's impossible to make progress. The first step to creating the life you dream of is clarity. It's about knowing exactly where you're going and understanding how to get there. But here's the catch. Clarity alone isn't enough. You need a strategy. You need a roadmap. Take the time to break your big goals into smaller, manageable steps. Each step becomes a milestone, a point along the journey that keeps you moving forward. Without a strategy, you're just taking random steps, hoping that they lead you somewhere. A strategy makes those steps intentional, powerful, and focused. It's like building a house. Without a blueprint, you'll end up with walls that don't line up and a foundation that crumbles. But with a clear plan, each part of the house fits together perfectly. By the end of this, your mindset will never be the same. You'll see goal setting not as a dream, but as a science. You'll see it as a powerful tool that transforms your life. When you set goals with precision, break them down into actionable steps, and follow through with unwavering commitment, you can achieve anything. This isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. It's about aligning your energy, your effort, and your focus with what you want to achieve. And when you do that, the results will follow. So let's get clear on what you want. Create a blueprint, break it down, and commit to the process. This is how you change your life. It's how you turn dreams into reality. It's how you achieve anything. And the moment you realize this, you'll never go back to wishing for success. You'll start creating it. Clarity is the foundation. Without clarity, you are simply wandering, hoping to stumble upon success. Think about it. How many times have you heard people say, I want to be successful, but when you ask them exactly what that looks like, they have no answer? Success is a vague, abstract idea without clarity. It's like saying you want to go somewhere, but you have no map, no GPS, no destination. How can you expect to get where you want to go if you don't know where you're headed? Clarity isn't just important. It's the foundation of everything you want to achieve. If you want to build a strong house, you start with a solid foundation. If you want to build a successful life, you start with clarity. Let's take a look at someone like Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. In the early days, Bezos didn't have millions of dollars or a massive team behind him, but he had one thing that was crucial: clarity. Bezos was crystal clear on what he wanted to achieve. He saw a world where people could buy anything online with a click of a button, and he pursued that vision relentlessly. But what set him apart wasn't just his dream, it was his clarity on how to make that dream a reality. Bezos didn't simply say, I want to make Amazon the biggest company in the world. He broke down his goal into smaller, actionable steps, and he stayed laser focused on his mission. When the world told him it couldn't be done, when the critics doubted him, he kept his vision clear. Every decision he made, every step he took was aligned with that singular vision. And that clarity gave him the ability to navigate challenges, innovate, and ultimately change the world. Now, let's turn this focus to your own life. How often do you set goals, only to find yourself lost, overwhelmed, or stuck? This happens when you don't have clarity. You may have a general idea of what you want, but you haven't defined it clearly enough to take focused action. Think about it. Do you really know what success means for you? Do you know what your dream life looks like in detail? Without this clarity, you're walking through life on autopilot, letting circumstances and external forces decide your direction. The moment you become crystal clear on what you want, you take control of your life. You stop letting life happen to you. You start making life happen for you. Psychologically, clarity helps to focus your mind and align your actions with your goals. Your brain is like a laser beam. When you focus it on one target, it has the power to break through anything in its way. But when you let it scatter across distractions and vague desires, it becomes a dim light, weak and ineffective. Clarity gives you the focus needed to direct your energy toward what really matters. It allows you to say no to things that don't serve your purpose and yes to the opportunities that move you forward. When you know exactly what you want, it becomes easier to make decisions because you have a clear framework for what aligns with your goals. Clarity is like a compass. It gives you direction and it keeps you from getting lost in the noise of life. Let's take an example from the world of sports. Think about Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Kobe's career wasn't built on talent alone. It was built on clarity. He was crystal clear on what he wanted to achieve, to be the best basketball player the world had ever seen. He didn't just want to be good, he wanted to be the best. And this clarity drove him to work harder than anyone else, to push through pain, and to never stop improving. Every day, Kobe knew exactly what he needed to do to get better, whether it was practicing a particular shot, refining his footwork, or strengthening his mental toughness. His clarity became his fuel, and that fuel drove him to greatness. The truth is, clarity is the bedrock upon which success is built. It's the difference between walking in circles and walking with purpose. It's the difference between dreaming about success and actually creating it. Without clarity, you're just guessing, hoping things will fall into place. But when you get clear about what you want, you create a roadmap for your life. Every decision becomes easier, every step more deliberate. So ask yourself, what do I really want? What is my vision for the future? When you define that clearly, everything else falls into place. Your clarity becomes the foundation for your actions, and your actions will bring you closer to the life you've always dreamed of. Clarity is the foundation. Build it, and everything else will follow. Breaking it down into actionable steps is the key to turning your big dreams into reality. You see, massive goals can feel overwhelming. And when we're faced with something too big, it's easy to freeze, to procrastinate, or to feel like it's just impossible to achieve. But here's the truth. Every monumental achievement, every world-changing innovation, every success story you can think of started with small, intentional steps. The key is not trying to tackle everything at once. The key is breaking down that big, daunting goal into manageable, bite-sized actions that move you closer to the finish line, step by step. Let's take Elon Musk as an example. Musk didn't set out to create Tesla and SpaceX overnight. These are massive, game-changing companies that are pushing humanity forward, but Musk didn't tackle them in one go. He broke down his vision into smaller, actionable steps. He didn't just wake up and say, I'm going to change the entire world. He first focused on making electric cars desirable, then building a sustainable infrastructure for those cars, then launching rockets into space. Each of these steps was a building block that led to his bigger vision. He didn't try to conquer everything at once. He focused on what he could do right now and made incremental progress. This strategy allowed him to keep moving forward even when setbacks arose. Now let's make this personal. Think about the goal you've been putting off or the dream that feels just out of reach. It might feel like too much to tackle all at once. And that's the problem. You don't need to solve everything in one day, but you do need to focus on what you can control today. Breaking down your goals into small, actionable steps creates clarity and momentum. Instead of being overwhelmed by the enormity of the task, you focus on what you can do right now, what is in your control, what is achievable today. Psychologically, this shift is incredibly powerful. When you break down a large task into smaller pieces, you begin to create a sense of accomplishment with every step you take. Your brain is wired to seek out rewards. When you complete a small task, it releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical that reinforces your behavior. That small win, no matter how insignificant it seems, propels you to take the next step, and then the next one. The more you build momentum, the more unstoppable you become. The process isn't overwhelming anymore because each action you take gives you the energy and motivation to keep going. It's the compound effect in action. Small, consistent efforts that accumulate into extraordinary results. Think about someone like Thomas Edison. He didn't invent the light bulb with a single brilliant idea. He did it through thousands of tiny experiments. Each one was a small step that brought him closer to his breakthrough. Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each failure was an action step that moved him closer to success. He didn't view these steps as failures. He saw them as data points, learning experiences, and necessary progressions toward his goal. He kept breaking down the larger task into smaller actions and ultimately changed the world. Here's the challenge. Look at the big goal you're chasing and break it down. Take that giant mountain and turn it into a series of manageable hills. Ask yourself, what is the very first thing I need to do to get started? Once you've figured that out, ask yourself, what's the next thing? Then the next. As you start ticking off these smaller steps, you'll see progress, and progress is power. Each step forward builds your confidence and moves you closer to the life you've dreamed of. But remember this, it's not about how fast you get there. It's about being consistent. It's about breaking it down and focusing on one small action at a time. The bigger vision is achieved one step at a time. So take that first step and let the momentum take care of the rest. You must create a timeline. Without a timeline, your goals remain abstract, distant dreams that are hard to quantify, track, or ultimately achieve. Here's the thing, time is the most precious resource you have. It's not unlimited, and once it's gone, you can't get it back. And yet, most people spend their time aimlessly, hoping that success will somehow fall into their laps. They have a general idea of where they want to go, but they don't attach any urgency to it. The truth is, if you don't create a timeline, you will be stuck in a never-ending cycle of procrastination, always saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," but tomorrow never comes unless you make it come. Take a moment to think about the goals you've set in the past. How many of them were accomplished without any clear deadline? How many times did you tell yourself, "I'll get to it eventually"? The reality is that without a timeline, there is no urgency. And without urgency, there's no accountability. If you say, "I want to get in shape," but there's no clear timeline, there's nothing pushing you to act now, you can put it off indefinitely, and that's exactly what happens. Day after day, week after week, you find yourself in the same place. But when you create a timeline, everything changes. Suddenly, the goal isn't something that might happen in the future. It becomes something that must happen within a set period. Think about someone like Steve Jobs. When he launched the original iPhone, he didn't just say, "Hey, let's make a phone that's different from everything else." He set a specific goal with a clear timeline. Jobs and his team worked tirelessly to meet that deadline. There was urgency, there was pressure, and that pressure pushed them to innovate, to stay focused, and to push boundaries. Without a timeline, they could have spent years tinkering, making small improvements here and there, but the result would not have been the revolutionary product that changed the world. The timeline gave the project direction, focus, and the sense of urgency that it needed to succeed. You see, the beauty of a timeline isn't just the deadline itself, it's the accountability it creates. A timeline forces you to act. It doesn't allow for endless delays or excuses. It makes you look at your goal and say, "This is when I need to get this done by. And if I want to make that happen, I have to start today." It removes the luxury of procrastination and forces you into a state of action. If you say, "I want to write a book," but don't set a timeline for completion, that book will never get written. But when you set a deadline, let's say, I will write 1,000 words every day for the next 30 days, suddenly the task becomes manageable and the end result becomes inevitable. That timeline gives you the discipline and the direction to stay on course. Psychologically, a timeline is critical because it brings clarity and focus. It helps you measure progress, track milestones, and see how far you've come. Without a deadline, you can get lost in the weeds, focusing on small details that don't matter in the grand scheme of things. But when you know that you have a set amount of time to achieve a goal, you prioritize what's important. You stop wasting time on non-essential tasks, and you start putting in the work that moves you forward. A timeline also helps you fight the most dangerous enemy of progress, indecision. You can't hesitate if you have a deadline. You have to act, make decisions, and move forward. So ask yourself, what is your timeline for achieving your most important goals? When do you want to accomplish them? Are you putting it off, or are you setting yourself up for success with a clear, non-negotiable deadline? Without a timeline, your goals are just fantasies. But when you attach a deadline to your dreams, you create the urgency that forces you to act. You take your goals from the realm of possibility into the realm of reality. You must create a timeline if you want to see the life you dream of unfold. No more delays, no more excuses. Time is your most valuable asset. Use it wisely and